if you're with an addict, then you're grieving a living person. And the reason why I say that is because, they're not even the same person who you remember or who you met. They had emotions then, they loved you then, and so when you ask yourself, did they ever love me? Of course they did, because they had emotions, they had remorse, and they were great people, right? And so therefore, when they become addicts and stuff, they don't have any emotions, they don't have any remorse on the way they treat you or anybody for that matter. And have you ever noticed, like every time you talking to someone that, that's an addict, it always go back to, poor me because of my mommy, or poor me because of my daddy. It's just always victimhood, always. It never stops. So so don't beat yourself up thinking that, oh, he never loved me and everything, or she never loved me, because that is not the case. And also too, a lot of times people sit there and they don't understand that you're in love with the memories, you're in love with the time. You're not in love with the person who they are today, dealing with, addiction and everything like that. You're not in love with them. I mean, you're just in love with time. You don't want to start over. You don't want to get to know no one or anything like that again, especially if you've been there for years, right? So therefore, it's easy to get stuck because you're in love with the time. But however, you're grieving the person that, that you're in a relationship with, that's an addict. Because to be honest with you, some people are not going to change until they're ready to change. I mean, you're not, no matter how much they love you, no matter how much they love their mama, no matter how much they love their children, no matter how much they love their, dog or whatever, it does not matter. I mean, they're not going to change until they're ready. Period. It doesn't matter if you're married. It doesn't matter if you go to church and you give them everything and you're there for them unconditionally. That doesn't matter, because it boils down to that they have to do it for themselves. And sometimes people got to lose, people in order to get it together. But I will tell you this though, and even though some people lose people and they still don't get it together, but that's okay, because you got to walk away with your peace. Your peace is your everything. So, yeah, I mean, when they sit there and they, choose drug addiction over you, then you know what? That's not your fault. That's not your problem. So therefore, you got to walk away, no matter how much it hurts. Time does heal. And of course, no one wants to be alone. No one wants to start over. But I tell you one thing, though, it's better to start over than sit there and just put up with nonsense and hurt and pain, hiding your keys, your wallet, your purse, got to watch their every move, and then they just get nasty and mean and rude to you. They don't become the person who you remember. I mean, and then you think you can wait it out, and you think you can say, okay, okay, I'm gonna wait it out. I'm gonna see if they change and everything like that. You're gonna be waiting forever, because now you became an enabler. So therefore, they know that you're not going nowhere, because you didn't say it a million times. I'm not going. I'm leaving you. I'm leaving you. I'm leaving you. Addicts know who's playing with them, and they know who's not. So therefore, I mean, when they go to court and they talk to that judge, and that judge say, "Hey, listen, if you don't come back on this date, then we're gonna put a bench warrant out for your arrest," right? Sometimes they don't come back and then they get caught, right? And what that judge do? Put them in jail, because there's no wiggle room. They either do it or the consequences get entered. And that's just the way it is. So, yeah, I mean, there's no sense of sitting up there like, oh, okay, well, they're going to rehab. They've been in rehab like, 8 times and everything like that. So, you know what? This time is the lucky number. They're going to get it together. You know what? Let them go to rehab. That's great. But also, too, do not be there for them while they're in rehab, because you need to see consistency. And sometimes people need to go into rehab and then afterwards go into sober living or whatever, whatnot. But you have to keep your distance, because you have to see, because the pattern has been the same, in and out of rehab, in and out of jail, in and out of being on the streets. I mean, it's just the same. So therefore, yeah, don't be there for them when they're in rehab, especially if they've been there so many different times. Because guess what? They're the greatest people in the rehab, right? They're the greatest people. But just like people that go to jail or in prison, they reading Bibles and they didn't found religion and everything. I mean, carrying the Bible around while they, in the yard. And then when they get out, They don't even read a scripture or even step into a church. So no, don't believe the hype. Just watch and observe, and let them prove themselves back to you. Don't sit there and believe everything that they're telling you, because they are the master of you. They know how to manipulate you. They know how to get what they want out of you. They have studied you. They studied you, and not only they studied you, but they know you. So they're going to play on your heartstrings. They're going to do whatever it takes. So that's why I say, when you with an addict, you're grieving the living, because the person who you remember, they're not there no more. It's almost like they're deceased, but they're not. It's just a person who you remember how they used to be. So the person who is today, the addict, you have to deal with them in a whole different way. You can't deal with them, from your memory on the way they used to be. And you can never say what they won't do. Because to be honest with you, when you get to thinking things, they 4 or 5 steps ahead of you. You're not even thinking on the same plane that they're thinking, because you don't manipulate people, you don't trick people, you don't hurt people you on purpose, you don't scheme and scam and plot. That's not your character. So of course they 4 or 5 steps ahead of you. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap this video up. Please subscribe and like. I'm quite sure somebody can hear me out there, is going through the same thing, or or whatever, who's been through this. Hopefully it helps someone. So I'm just I hope that you hear this message and it helps you. And God bless everyone. Jesus love you, and I'll talk to you guys on the next video. All right, bye.